BAM are some of its legislators from ODM. You can see flying there is members of parliament of different constituencies there. 5 of them right now are facing the specter of losing the seats if really all this goes to its logical constitution. But still, the grey areas that we do have is we need to clarify is deeming and freedom of association. Does it stand a very good state as far as having efficacy of evidence or burden of proof that they were deeming? And this is also in light of other legislators raising special umbrage with ODM, that they seem to be also a sort of favoritism. Some other legislators have been fined, others have been denied the party ticket. What does it portend for the 5 legislators? Are we also looking forward to a by-election if the Speaker will pronounce the seats vacant? And of course, this is after the whole rigmarole of going to the tribunal and maybe even them protesting what will have been the outcome of the tribunal, moving to the Supreme Court or the High Court in the country of Kenya. But deeming is where the details that we want to find out what this deeming really means. And of course, Dr. Kaloi can tell us, you as a party leader of Green Thinking Action Party.
I want to hear the response, first of all, from Professor Manyora, what he thinks about the party before I can speak. Because GTAP. Otherwise, yes.
You know, GTAP is, I said, is a part of the future. It is a party that is about, not just about green, but a party of action. That parties must not wait for 5 years before they move into action. That parties must be identified by certain things they do that are not necessarily done.
Which party?
GTAP. Green Thinking
It's okay, it's okay.
Party.
Don't worry. Let him
Go to the
respond
website
to
of
the question.
GTAP and see. I've gone through the website. I checked. Yeah, after sitting with him here,
that's the wrong statement.
I quietly went to the website and I was surprised. Because you see, everything a party does in this country is about elections. And that's why they do it during election time, after every 5 years. But I think he's revolutionizing the whole idea of political parties, where parties must engage with the public, with the community, without necessarily elections in mind, about things that affect the people. And I think if many parties did that, I'm very sure the face of this country will change. Political parties will contribute to changing the country.
Wow. Yeah. Thank you.
So what you're failing to tell us is Green Thinking Action Party.
Yes.
Just from the word thinking and green, and him being reflective of green as well, is a party that is driving an ideology.
Yes.
Which is predicated on climate, climate change and environment, and
greening,
social,
but there's
and
also that thinking aspect. And don't forget the action. I've gone to the website, I've checked. The action part of it is that a party must engage in certain activities without necessarily looking at an election. You see, that's a very big departure. It's a paradigm shift, actually.
It's true.
Thank you. So I said 4 things. So first of all, I'm glad that my team members have highlighted the constitutional process and what is required about parties. So I now want to just give guidance, reading the party's Article 13. And you know, this is the party of all the successful business people and the common man on the ground, and working with the most successful parties that we have in the country. Article 13 about party discipline. It brings out issues or a committee of 5 people that is led by a legal mind, and the processes of how to lodge disciplinary complaint, grounds for disciplinary action, which are 3 mainly: becoming a member of or support another political party or group; 2, conducting themselves in a disgraceful and disorderly and dishonorable manner; 3, take part in fueling conflicts or creating divisions within ranks of the party or membership, and therefore goes ahead to disciplinary hearings and punishment that is thereof expected. So this is very strict. Now, let me go to what I am talking about, and you have just already alluded. Mambo ni matatu kwa political parties. Mambo ni mangapi? Number one, a party must have a political ideology. You must be known for what you do. It must be so clear that when somebody hears the political party, and this is where we have room for improvement, because currently and since independence, it is, or since the repealing of the Act on political parties, 2A, people now started coming together. Twende wewe utakuwa hii, you will become this. I think we diverted from the ideology. This is what is going to create a political party culture in the country that is going to change our nation. The second thing is to avoid ethnic politics. That because I am Mkamba, that is why I would desist when Brian, my very good lawyer, and I appreciate him, calling it Kalua's party. It's not Kalua's party. Never. It is our party. Not based on individual, not based on ethnic basis, not based on anything beyond what you see on the website and put together by so many people. 3, internal democracy. That you are not coming in because you saw my wife, you saw my cousin, you saw some official of the party, gave some money, and then you are therefore entitled to your ticket to vie for that. And can you imagine, we are the only party in the Republic of Kenya, beyond all these issues and having a very strict constitution, that we said, when you're coming here, you're not vying for yourself if you're looking for a political seat. You will bring an additional letter either from a chief, from a church or mosque or temple to say that this is our man and he's actually coming on our behalf. How many people do you think we lost? Very many that wanted to be part of this. And that is the basis, the foundation over which you stand and be able to build a culture that is different. It doesn't matter that we have only one member elected. It doesn't matter. It will take 20 years, it will take 30 years, it doesn't matter. I know that this is a party that any leader or any party would want to associate with, any individual would want to associate with, because we stand on values that can stand. And I can never wake up one day and say, I think we move to the left. There is no chance. I can't even try. I don't even know how. I can't even start, because I have to consult with the entire party organ. This is the proposal on the table. What do you think? Trash it. Thank you. What do you think? Do this. And we all agree. And that is what culture we need to build in our country's political sphere. So we need the future. Brian, karibu sana. And I'm sure that we all can do something great for our nation. So I think it's clear as that. And thank you for your endorsement, Professor. May God bless you. I didn't know that.
Are you joining the party?
Yeah. Why not?
I didn't ask.
But right, see, no. Our challenges in the country.
Oh, you have a question for him.
Just before that, our country's problem right now is not political issues, is the economic challenges that we have. And this is where we need to keep going in the direction that is going, canvassing, talking silently. You must not be seen, I must not be seen. Okay. The business community wants industrialization to go to the next place.
Thank you.
People are looking for job opportunities. For as long as we are creating those, each one day at a time, I think we are headed in the right direction, and we have a great
Dr. Green, if I may ask you, if you were the Raila of ODM today, what would you do in such a scenario?
Follow the procedure of the party. I must stand on what was established from the beginning. I would have started from where I started. Are you an aspirant for the party? Yes. There is this that you must do. How many people do you think...
article that you have, yes.
Yes. How many people do you think came saying that we have lost on this other side, but because you seem to be a friend of this side or this side, we want to work with your party? Are they coming because they want the ideology or what? So it is all about starting right before you get to the next level. And I think that is where you must be able to do.
So we have the good checks from the parties, Professor Ogola, but we have the legislation which is failing the party. Is that the case?
Yes, there's a lot of things, even the party failing itself, because there is no political party in Kenya that can say they don't have internal issues. And there's no political party that has stood on some very serious principles. Because, for example, in as much as Raila Odinga is the party leader and all ODM members need to swear loyalty to him, why do you amend the rules, then use them? Because you are amending them depending on circumstances. Are they having what is called timeless principles? Because he had to amend certain things, then now use those amendments to issue disciplinary action. So if your party is green, and it's going to be green from today in the end, it won't go brown, that can be enacted for you at the moment. Sorry to say, maybe you don't have a lot of stakes. How many people are attracted to your party who believes that there's currency, that if they come to your party, they can actually win MCA, they can win Senate, they can win that. So long as that's not the issue, you can preach more of the values of the party. When the party has got MPs and they have got different alignment, you'll find that you have to balance a lot. Running a political party is hard. Give credit to Raila Odinga. ODM, if you like, apart from KANU, which of course cannot compare in terms of the number of parliament of here, ODM is the longest party with the most stable, let's say, management. With all issues ODM has had, it has remained a little very stable for a long period of time and very viable. And that's why, to balance the different interests, remember, a thief wants to vie. Someone has stolen money, wants to vie in your party. For you are telling them to come with a letter from the church. If ESCC is an issue to pass many people, remember how many candidates ESCC said, we have issues with the following candidates. And IBC cleared them. Now for you, if you are the one that is trying to put barriers, I have to come with a letter from a pastor, and my pastor knows I'm a liar, how will I vie in your party? So the issue is, maybe there's something else that the Green Party needs to achieve, because like Professor said, every party is about winning election and winning political seats. If you have values on environment, then maybe you need to invest heavily on environmental, for example, green energy, you understand? Now your members will get money from green energy that they can now invest in running an election. So you cannot just say, we believe on environment, so that people develop their manifesto in the line on environment without actually having an economic empowerment. Sometimes say there must be some things. I'm sorry you challenged me by telling me, Professor, go read the website. I've been reading it. I don't comment when I'm not having information. Professor will tell you that we have a reputation. Like, for me, the way I do my activism, I cannot do the ones like Eric Omondi, because I cannot go to Parliament and remove my shirt. People say I've lost my mind. I must do my activism in an intellectually stimulating way. So I'm still reading it. I was going to recommend to you, like I've just mentioned something, that looking at the principles of the party, you cannot sell electoral positions only, then you are not living your principles. You must actually go and transform. For example, Wangari Maathai's Green Belt, it transformed the place, it planted trees. So how many trees are you planting? And for what purpose are you planting? If you set up a green-leaning party for the sake of getting a position to speak at the climate summit, then maybe that is the role. But if you set up to win electoral positions, are there areas in Kenya that if you mention environment, they'll come to you? Remember, Kenyans are still not yet ethical consumers because they have no choice. Unilever can be unethical, but when you go to the supermarket, you only find Unilever. Raila told us boycott Total and Shell. Then Wajaluos, we drove from one fuel station to the other and found we're endangering our cars. We told them, forget about it. Let us just fuel from Shell and Total. We were told to boycott Bidco. Now, Prof, boycott Bidco. You'll see what you are going to eat. So it's hard still, because ethical consumption is still not a currency to really sell. But if you go to the West, they boycotted Shell when Shell had issues in the Northern Sea, when they were drilling oil and trying to collapse oil to kill the sea, they boycotted Shell. For us, we still don't have options. We need to really create options. So if somebody wants to say, if you don't stand for environment, you're not on our side, how many people will vote because somebody stands for environment? If Kenyans concerned about food today, we are living from
thank you.
Let me respond to something.
We need to close up this issue of the party politics so that we can go to...
it, so let's finish. So here we are.
I need to finish.
Yes.
You want Green to start talking about it?
No. Here, first of all,
my friend, planting trees and green energy.
Let
really
me appreciate what good Professor Ogola has said, and I appreciate his book. And the fact that the Green Party is not just about planting trees or matters of environment, it's a wholesome approach to livelihoods and much more, is just to mention, first of all, the purpose and the reason for which we chose to partner and to work with Kenya Kwanzaa and the coalition parties after the elections is very clear. We are not threatening any party. We are not threatening any institution. Instead, we are adding value. If you look at the just ended process and what we have been able to do, it was very precise that we want to add value. We want to go, because it's not about numbers, it's about values. And for as long as Kenya is one day going to be driven by values, I think that is where we want to position ourselves. This country has got very good people who want to associate themselves with value. It is not going to be business as usual. It might not be in my lifetime, but I believe that we have created an institution of posterity, that good people, the youth of this country, can associate themselves with
But a critical question that I need to ask you as an affiliate party of Kenya Kwanzaa, because we have also the Secretary the Secretary General Malala asking for the parties which are affiliate to Kenya Kwanzaa to fold up. Are you
affiliation?
Are you ready to fold up?
Thank you. So affiliation is at different levels. During the elections, we agreed. Just hold on.
No, we have tiers of affiliations.
We agreed that the party that I'm part of agreed that we are not going to support any political side. It was very clear until after the elections. The point at which we went back and said this is what is going to be the direction is the point at which Raila did not attend the debate. And at that point, it was very clear that if you're not ready to deliver what is supposed to be given to Kenyans and what people expect under any circumstance, then there is no clarity on all this. And at that point, we agreed. And I actually met the president, the current president, and told him that we are working towards this direction. We are working with you. And on principles, very clearly, we are not part of the team. We only wrote a letter and said we are going to support, we are going to give ideas, and we have not failed in that. And we shall continue. What is right, we shall say it is right. What is wrong is wrong. And we have not signed any coalition agreement to say that we are here and we are supposed to fold. No, we will speak. And as you know me, and I represent the institution and the business community in this country and well-thinking Kenyans who have value. I will always, if it is Raila who has said something wrong, I will tell him. I respect him. He respects me. I have all respect for him, for the leadership he has, and my community,
so you are not an affiliate party?
We have chosen, and we have written a letter to His Excellency the President. We are going to work with you based on this and the numbers that we agreed, and that is why you can even see
with Kenya Kwanzaa?
The government that is in authority and working with it.
In one word.
What do you say?
How do you describe your
We are working to improve the power of what the government is supposed to deliver to the people of Kenya.
So the binary question, or the answer would be yes or no. If you are supposed to be holding...
If I had a signed document between Kenya Kwanzaa and our party, that would be different.
Okay.
All that is standing is a letter that we wrote to say that we are working to support what the plan is.
Okay.
As simple as that.
I want us to sum up.
I think you're not being fair to Dr. Kalua Green.
Why?
He has explained himself. He says before election, they were not supporting anybody. After election, and when the president was elected, and the Supreme Court accepted to that
Well,
election,
before that, I have said it clear.
Then they decided to support the
I have
president.
said it clear. The point at
So
which...
basically, the GTAP is AGIP. Any government in power. Leave Dr. Kalua Green alone. I want to come back to the issue you asked.
Is there anything wrong with that?
No,
if it were.
There is nothing.
But you see, the clarification he's putting is very wrong. I have said the departing point where it was. We did not wait until after the election. We had 46,000 votes, and the team members were well guided in the process before the elections. It was not after the election. I've said it, the letter is shared, is in public. You will see it on our website, the commitment.
Potato. So now, I want to come back to the issue of counties, because you had asked it before.
Yes,
we digressed.
This is it's a big debate, especially the issue of counties. I just want to flag up that because there's a plot, according to what we've heard from the legislators, to use talks team to create 11 extra counties, the bipartisan talks. And yes, this is what now we want to explore.
Yes,
briefly.
I think we need to understand the thinking of the counties. While 11 might be a lot, one of the key issues that, if you remember what bedeviled the 2007 elections, that literally brought in the 2010 constitution, was that we realized that the winner takes it all. Dr. Herman Manyora. In the last dispensation, if you ran for president, we had a supreme president who controlled all the resources. So what did we say after the 2007 elections where people died, there were serious tribal clashes? We realized that all this election, it's not just about power. It's about control of resources. So we said, okay, look here. Let us create 47 units where we will devolve a sizable number of the budget to those devolved units and ensure that we develop Kenya equitably, so to speak. And you know that debate, we say that the very least is 15, then it can be more than 15. And the discussions have been, how can we increase that particular provision? Now, fast forward, the reason why even in the last dispensation, in the last election, you see clearly there is no passion in terms of fighting after election, is because at least people say, we have our counties. And the way the counties were created, if you look at the way the 47 were created, there are certain communities within this country where we did not look at equity. For instance, you know Tharaka-Nithi county. Do you know it has how many constituencies? 2. Tharaka-Nithi county. The way people talk about Tharaka-Nithi as such a huge...
determines the outcome of the election.
That determines the outcome of election, and they say now Tharaka-Nithi is coming. They only
By the way, it's called Tharaka.
They only have Tharaka-Nithi. They only have
2
constituencies.
Igombe sijui what.
Igombe North and Igombe South.
Chuka Igombe. Now, look at the subas within Nyanza, where I come from. We have been lumped up with the Luos, who have a whopping 6 constituencies. When do you think we will ever be governors? Look at the Kurias in Migori. Look at the Tesos.
So where are you heading now?
What I'm trying to say is that we needed to at least create those devolved units for certain communities that have really suffered in this country. And I'm talking about the Tesos, I'm talking about the Sabouts, I'm talking about the Subas, and I'm talking about the Kurias. These other constituencies between Mwingi.
Well, even in my place, Vihiga, we have Kalenjin. No, Vihiga. So we create one for them.
Kalenjins have constituencies. They have what? They have how many? Kalenjins have, do you know how many?
But they are within Vihiga.
Kalenjin as a sub-tribe They have very many. Kwanzaa don't talk about you Vihigas. How many constituencies do you have?
5.
And you are given 5, and you are given
A county.
Why are you opposed to our county? So let us look at these particular communities that have been marginalized over a period of time.
So is marginalization?
I think we need to say something.
No, yeah. Before
Ask
I
the
ask
question.
the question. Okay, all right. Let me hear from my last
See,
question.
If we went in that direction, we may not even be satisfied with 100 because there are 47 today.
Exactly.
If you give the couriers and the Suba and whoever else you have mentioned, by the same token, there will be another group.
The Nubians also will want a county.
They will feel excluded.
In Kibera.
Because exclusion sometimes is just a...
It's a feeling.
Yeah, it's a feeling or a construct. You feel, look, much as we are Maragolis and it has happened in Vihiga, we don't feel really Maragoli. These people from north, where Mudavadi was versus the war with Kibisu, with Semo, Maragolis. And they had such a bitter fight among themselves until Vihiga constituency was created. And these are just people speaking one language. So exclusion, you cannot put an end to it. If that is the yardstick, then we will end up having 1,000 counties. But let's build on that. First of all, it's not true, Weke, that we said let's have 47 counties. The discussion led to 8 counties based on the original 8 provinces.
The original blocks.
And then it was advanced further, say, okay, although we have 8 counties, 8 provinces, but there are certain provinces that really need to be re-engineered. So we looked at Rift Valley and said it could get 3. We looked at Nyanza and said we could put the Kuria and the Kisi in a separate region. So we ended up with a maximum of 14. And that was the agreement, around 14, 12. Then there were regions. Then the fear of Majimbo came in. And then the compromise, this thing of 47 was a compromise in Naivasha. Compromise ODM then made with what you could call PNU. And it gave these 47 counties based on the last counties before Kibaki came in, running amok with the counties and granting every village a district with the new districts. They went up 1972. The last gazetted, I think, 19-something. The last gazetted 80-something, I think, yeah? 92, 80-something. There were 47. Now, the truth, however, is this. These counties are too many to be economically and even politically viable. Mm-hmm. If we borrow from elsewhere, where there's what you can call federalism, quasi-federalism, or devolution, the fewer the better, and the more viable they are. So, to marry what these people are saying to what ought to be done in this country, and we must seize this opportunity, is to go back to original Boma's idea of 14 or so regions. And then once we have that, we have a lower tier. You can now call the ones counties, and now we can expand them in the manner we are suggesting. Say from 47, maybe to around 70 or so. But we have the regions. So
we're going back to municipalities.
We shall engineer how they will be relevant, semi-autonomous within the regions, and get what they are getting today, if not more, within the context of the regions. I think that's the conversation we ought to have. We cannot have a conversation around expanding the counties without going back to the original Boma's idea of 14 or so regions, as it happens elsewhere across the world.
All right, let me hear from Ogola, because if this is amongst the 5 issues that are meant to be interrogated, do we have any threshold? Because I think this is really coming from the left side. We didn't anticipate anything to do with also additional counties. Are we also cluttering this bipartisan talks with so much things that everyone feels that we need to bring it to the table? Where did this really come from?
According to me, is that people are trying to take advantage of the fact that the elephant now is on the table.
Yeah, because we'll be wasting a lot of time.
Everybody is looking for which part can they cut and run with, because the elephant is on the table. Like I told you, who was on the street? Azimio was on the street. Why is Kenya Kwanzaa having 5 issues, yet they were not on the street? Then now these other MPs who are coming from the Suba side and the one of Teso, they were not on the street. So why are they coming with issues which were not on the street? I'm saying they were not on the street claiming that they were on the street because counties are fewer.
Yeah.
Why are they becoming an issue in the Bomas? So for me, if Bomas wants to be Bomas, the way we know it, it should be what we know by Bomas, like Professor has said. Let's go back to the origin. Why is the talks in Bomas? You know, for Kenyans, when you say talks are in Bomas, it's a national dialogue. But this is not. This is a bipartisan, people who have come together for a lot of self-interest to bring on the table. So according to me, starting to say that Suba people, unless they can never be governor, if we use that logic, then we come national again and said, let us talk about secession now, because Lumos will never be president.
Yes.
So I'm saying that logic can be dangerous. And I want to have other logics. There were parameters which were put before on how to determine a constituency, how to determine a county. For example, they're saying that there are some counties that should actually disappear. For us, we are looking at counties which have never met the numbers, which were given provisionally. Let us watch you and see whether you walk towards matching. For me, for example, a county which has zero revenue, you can call zero because insignificant, like a county like Lamu. Why are we giving that county a loss of cost when there is no revenue? If it's about money, why don't we think about how to add resources to Suba? Because in the Bible, God told the Israelites, the king will be overbearing on you. Having another governor in Suba will overburden the Suba people. What you need is money. Look at how the devolution has taken place. 65% of the money allocated to healthcare remains at the national level. And I ask them, they tell me it is for research and strategy. 35% goes to the counties for health, yet health is 100% devolved. Now, if you'll have a CS health, you'll have even some stupid positions like a sergeant at arm, deputy sergeant. Someone called me from Migori and told me that he's the deputy sergeant at arm. What the hell are we doing? We have, imagine, 47 deputy sergeant at arm in Kenya earning a salary. But what is the development people are getting in that
the
county?
laughable county assembly public service board.
So are you saying all these things will be taken again to Suba, or will be overbearing? For me, what we want to ask ourselves, what problem are we solving? If it's about an economic, let's say, what you call economic sabotage, or you call them marginalization, there are other things to do. Like, for example, for me, Mandera, Turkana, they have never found a formula for helping them on the issue of economics, because the farthest point from Mombasa is Mandera. You understand? Fuel is most expensive in Mandera because they use distance. Is there any way to equalize by saying if Nairobians paid 2 shillings more each in Nairobi, people in Mandera would have the same price of fuel as Nairobi? And then with fuel, you can light your houses, you can have generators, you can do many things. There are other things to be done for Suba people than just having a governor. And I told you, let us go to competency-based management, because if we go to Bomas and discuss about dividing countries based on tribal lines, we will never get to meritocracy, we'll never get to competence. You can tell me that I'm idealistic, but I can tell you, even as God knows we are sinners, and there's no one not missing sins every day. We are sinning every day, but God still believes we are going to heaven. If God has not given up on us, why are we giving ourselves that we cannot pursue ideal? For me, Weke, I will continue pursuing the ideal. Somehow or other, we shall be closer. Aim at the star, you might hit the sky. So if you already give up on the star, you cannot even go on top of the roof. The ceiling, just the ceiling, you won't reach there. So for me, let us still aim that competency-based management, idealism, for example, like yours, don't give up. It is far from it, isn't it? But if you give up, there's nothing to pursue. No, I was telling him that he has to put something into implementation. So according to me, adding more counties will not reduce cost of living. If people on the street because of cost of living, it won't. Bringing a position of official position of official leader of opposition, now making the prime minister, prime CS positions now in the constitution, all those won't add. And I end by telling you, my brother, Dr. Kalua, I'm not hard on you, but today it seems I'm trying a lot to disagree with you.
Yeah. You're trying.
And because I respect you, I understand your ideals, but there's something I strongly disagree. If you said you're working with the Kenya Kwanzaa, and William Ruto lifted the ban on logging of trees, and your party believes on environment, I see a misnomer. And when I see the president making a declaration in KICC stating that he's pro-environment, but lifting the ban, I also see a history. When Raila Odinga was prime minister, when he said they are cleaning the Mau to ensure Mau forest is protected, William Ruto led his kinsmen to say rains come from heaven, not from the trees. And then again, he's championing environment. I've seen him planting trees again, running with them planting trees. You see this video which is going on? How inconsistent can someone be that you can support him? I can tell you, even if William Ruto was to appoint me minister today, I will not take it. Because I don't believe in him. I cannot work for him.
But to be,
and according to me, if the Green Party wants to be consistent, let the principles and values really determine whom they work with. You should be working more with Raila, because Raila sacrifices presidency for the environment. That is Mao.
So, all right. So on the issue, yeah, you will. But we wanted also to clarify, when you say that he led his clansmen, he's not the one who said that rain does not come from heaven, from trees, it comes from heaven. It's not. He
led. You know, when you see a dog barking,
no.
They say, oh, no,
he led, so he's not the one. Just clarify so that he's not the one who said.
He led the kinsmen to say that.
Okay.
So let me appreciate Professor, and I can never thank him enough for what he believes in, because it is his idea, his mind, and all that. First of all, allow me also to disagree in a very kind way, out of just your own statement that you said earlier on that you are not partisan. Clearly, you are extremely partisan, deeply partisan. Well, the difference is the same, because the Constitution establishes a president, and a president according to the law. So there is no way you can be here nor there.
When it's wrong?
Yes. So let me say this. You know, the way we think about things, we need to always see the other side of things. The fact that, and the communication, my life is public in as far as these public matters are concerned, because our party is receiving money from the political party's kitty, and therefore I must place everything. Our participation, our involvement, our relationship with the party, the ruling party, is very clear. And if you visit our website, and I think I will also share the letter that we wrote to the president and that we wrote to the Secretary General of the party, it's very clear what we want to do. When there was an announcement that logging is going to be opened up, I was the first one to go out to public, and there is, by the way, me, Kalua Green, and there is the party, and it's very clear. When I'm talking first of all as a person who understands matters of environment. I can advise. I also receive advice and all that. So I was the first one to do that. What else did I do as part of working with the government? I released a document that was the task force report, very clearly, and say this is what was agreed upon. I'm sure everybody went wow, including the president himself, because he's a scientist and he understands all these things and he understands where the line of politics is. What else did I get to do? Friends came in, they want to go to court, they did. I gave every information that would support them, so that at least if it is a political process that is happening away from the president, then it saves the entire process from going on. And therefore, eventually the matter is being stopped by the court. And therefore, being and working with the government and giving direction is not necessarily a yes kind of a situation. No. We must change the way we think of things. We must direct this country in a better way. And some of the things that I've been thinking about, what is the country grappling with? We cannot be seen to be driving an agenda from the top without involving the Mwananchi. Mwananchi is out there thinking about unemployment. We don't have a job. We don't have a source of income. What are you trying to say to the people today? The El Nino is coming. Can people go out there? We have land that is back in our homes. We need to live peaceably with everyone, and therefore you can be given access just because maybe you don't have a good working relationship with the owner of the land, including your parents. How do you create that opportunity? How do you deal with things of public debt? How can we deal with it guided by the Mwananchi himself? So that you're moving with them, you are discussing the social issues and challenges in a good way. How do you proceed with the public wage bill that is really paining Kenyans? Because we are having a situation that's very terrible, and the earlier one, 60% of businesses in Kenya today is about you're paying compliance issues. How do we manage this? How do we start a business and all of a sudden you are told that machine that you are using for tax purposes, you now have to invest into a new one. That's that you are not sure how to deal with. Kenyans are asking about the fragile tax base. How do we expand it in a way that it can be comfortable for every Kenyan? These things, when they start from the top, they don't make any sense to the Mwananchi. They imagine that it's just another setup, it's another opportunity, people are trying to sort themselves out. But the moment you take this subject, and that is why with the team of PLO and my dear brethren in pushing for the constitution, we are saying, let us discuss together. You should see the views that are flowing into the entire process. Emails, documents, and we have never even yet called for this. Just people are saying, can we change this? Can we have a cap on the amount that can be borrowed? Where can we deal with this issue? Can we have a situation on the tax base? How can we do this? These are issues and processes, and they can never be changed until it is a popular initiative guided by the Mwananchi in a very comfortable way, meaning very well for the good of the country, giving comfort to the current president and the others who will come, thinking about the constitution not for today but for the future, because it will surpass the generations.
Right, thank you. I can see time is not really on our side. We're pinch of time, but today also marks a very important day. We're at the Supreme Court because of the Finance Act that has been in the courts for the longest time. So we're going to get a determination. Yes, they're going to make a ruling on two issues. First of all, on the Finance Act. Also, we have the LGBTQ disputes and the registration.
Sisi kwa sisi.
Sisi kwa sisi.
Some terminology.
This is a family show. So I don't know what Haman thinks about it or the outcome. We shall be keeping our eyes peeled briefly, even as we consider our headline thoughts.
To begin with the alphabetics, LGB, whatever. The less said about the better. If you look at the Constitution of Kenya, it does allow for same-sex marriage. And it does
what?
Allow. It allows same-sex marriage. And it outlaws discrimination. I've read it. I know.
No, you need to quote the Constitution. No. Because we're running up the show and you open it. Just a moment. No, I can't allow such because I've never seen it.
Listen, if you're quoting, to the good professor.
If you're quoting the Constitution, you need to quote the Constitution.
It is the Constitution. I
don't say the Constitution,
but I can do it.
Because you know what Prof is trying to do? We have only 3 minutes. In fact, we should be running up the show, and it's raising a very controversial topic.
I can explain myself.
Yes.
Can you quote the Constitution? English. It's a question of English. Let's look at the same-sex marriage. The Constitution says every Kenyan has a right to do what? To enter into a union with a person of the opposite sex.
Yes.
Now listen.
Quote the Constitution. Just quote for me where.
It is,
so that I can't
remember where, but you would know somewhere. Rights, Bill of Rights, somewhere in. Yeah, where it says you cannot. First of all, there's a place that says.
So that at least
there's a place that says you don't need. Let us not be like lawyers who waste time. The Constitution says you shall not discriminate against any person on the basis of religion, on the basis blah blah blah.
That is at Article 27.
The word used is including And then it names that does not close the bracket.
Prof, article?
I can't remember which article about. So if you Google, you can
I think
find.
that was Dibal, because Dibal has even set this table until even there is
No,
a
no, I'm
constitution.
saying-
There is no opinion here.
You cannot argue. Listen,
Yeah, and you said
listen.
opinion is the lowest form
You
of
cannot
knowledge.
argue. Listen,
Yeah.
listen. You cannot argue that every time we are making a point, we must refer to the Constitution.
We have to.
No.
For a very
Then we'll be
controversial
very boring
topic like
debates.
that, and also we have
The
a
people
and
listening
it's in-
to us, I'm trying to say this Constitution here says you shall not discriminate against any Kenyan on the basis of race, religion, blah, blah, blah.
Blah, blah, blah. That's why.
Those using the word including means there are others you have not added.
No.
So anybody is at liberty to add. But let's
Okay.
continue, because the principle is exclusion and discrimination. Let me finish this. I don't support those things. I think you think I support. I don't. And then
I'm a
when it
bit
comes to-
antsy.
when it comes to marriage, it says, look under the chapter of family. When you are the lawyer here, the chapter on family.
Wewe
They say
jiunge na Mark Matunga,
every Kenyan has a
Professor,
right. Every
Mugimba
Kenyan, listen,
ufanye
we do this.
kazi ya
Listen, let me
katiba.
finish, please. You are disturbing my flow. Okay. Every Kenyan has a right to marry a person of the opposite sex. My friend, mimi najua Kizungu. That right, I can use it or not. Let me give you a good example. Every prisoner has a right to 4 hours of sunshine, for example. I don't have to go out for 4 hours. I can stay inside. If you have a right to marriage to a person of the opposite sex, that right you may forfeit it. The framers of the Constitution were simply being clever. And one of these days that will go to the Supreme Court, and the interpretation I'm giving you is the interpretation the Supreme Court will give.
Article
These guys were simply being clever.
Iko police station hapa nje.
They were simply being clever.
yeah, I was quoting Article 47,
Let me just
but
finish.
this is out of context.
Let me just finish.
Completely.
Let me just finish. For example, like abortion, they were going around abortion also to allow it. Read the article on abortion, but they were just being clever in the wording. If we wanted to outlaw same-sex marriage, English has the word. We should just have said clearly, there shall be no same-sex marriage in Kenya.
All right.
To say my every person
Thank you.
has a right
We need to wind up.
means I can forgo my right.
Yeah.
Article
27.
Yes, what does it say?
And you know, when you hear a serious professor talking, you have to listen. There is something he's trying to say,
Yes.
which you're not listening. It says that the state shall, and the word in law is shall, not may, which means it's
which clause
automatic.
is that? Clause?
4. The state shall not,
24.
24/7. The state shall not discriminate directly or indirectly against any person on the grounds including,
You see?
number 1, race, number 2, sex. Do you want me to continue?
No.
So let's move to, because we are finishing. I don't want to get into that discussion. We are waiting for the Supreme Court to make a ruling. We do not want to be subject.
But they are not ruling on this. They are ruling on an entirely
On the
different
registry.
thing.
Yeah, but
and by the way,
But when somebody will go to court on this, that including is not a closed bracket.
But you know, I need to say
open
this, that you're
list.
also reading into that, because when you talk about race, it's a binary.
About
It's a binary between male and female.
who?
So no, that particular sex. When you talk about sex, what are you
Where there is
redefining?
in
No, no,
English,
are we
where there is
redefining?
sex,
Are we
let me-
redefining
let me-
sex?
Let me educate you.
Okay.
Let me educate
Can we
you.
hold this for another show,
Okay,
so that we
let me
get
listen
clarity
to
on
Please,
this?
please
Okay.
listen a bit. Including, you open a list. Where there is sex, at the end you can put sexuality, which now brings in the alphabetics.
All
But
right.
Prof, you are right. The only thing we are afraid is opinion.
His opinion.
now,
Which is
for me.
No, I'm saying we
Okay.
are afraid here
Of
that
opinion.
is the lowest. So now that's where the problem is, because the court can interpret sex means this.
There's no
And there's
opinion
nothing you
there.
can do.
There's no opinion. This
All right,
is
we need to
English.
wind up. We need to wind up.
I'm talking about the English. I don't support those things myself.
After
I
the
know.
Okay,
Constitution.
guys,
I'm
we
a
need to go.
serious.
We need to go. We need to go.
10 years
Religious
after
man.
the Constitution, we are now 13. The Constitution anticipated that there will be changes that need to be allowed so that it is comfortable for us. Nothing is better than a popular initiative, where some of these things that are not clear, are dealt with for the future of this country, so that you place it in front of people, waseme ni nini wanataka, waweke pale, but opening up on the most important things so that the next phase of 10 years later, then you can also look at it in a, it's a live document.
Thank you. As we
I appreciate that.
We finalize
I
it.
have been very clear about this process of funding in universities.
Yes.
And you remember when I made a very passionate appeal here. Now look at the standard today. University fees funding fraud. I told you this process is fraudulent.
Correct.
Any process that involves human beings to determine who gets what will be fraudulent, will have corruption, will be tribal, and that is what I was telling. This government should go back to the old process.
All right.
Not necessarily.
Let us
We discuss it.
deal-
Okay, we need to go. I need to wind up.
Thank
you so much, gentlemen.
Something.
Thank you. I really appreciate Dr. Kalua.
Closing remarks.